Stage 1. Establish the Archdiocese of St. Louis Unified Pre-K 3 through 8 grade level expectations. Step 1. Review in depth the Missouri Learning Standards. For this step, you will need the following documents located at your table. A copy of the Missouri Learning Standards, a copy of the Bloom's Taxonomy and Depth of Knowledge charts. This is one piece of paper with one chart on each side. A copy of the Archdiocese of St. Louis Content Area Expectations for your content area located at your table, and a copy of the form entitled Curriculum Writing. It will be very important for organization purposes that you use this form as the central location for documenting all of your notes, thoughts, concerns, and questions. Committee members will use and reference these forms during conversations about decisions on what to include and not include in your proposed St. Louis Archdiocese grade level expectations. The first step is all about reading and familiarizing yourself with the Missouri Learning Standards. As you read them, complete questions 1 through 4 on this document entitled Curriculum Writing that address these questions. Are there controversial topics that could contradict the Catholic faith depending on how they are taught? For example, stem cells or cloning being taught in science, or immigration or the distribution of resources in social studies. If there are controversial topics, these should not be removed from the curriculum. Rather, a footnote should be added to the expectation to alert teachers and principals that the topic must be taught through the lens of Catholicism. Are the cognitive levels of the standard appropriate to grade level? For example, in communication arts, is a standard requiring a student to cite evidence to explain visual elements of a text or analyze them and draw conclusions? Or in math, should students just be able to identify and describe relationships between two variables or analyze their relationship using graphs? And to what degree do they align to the Archdiocese of St. Louis content area expectations? These content area expectations have already been established for you, and the purpose of them is to communicate the broad outcomes of a specific content area that graduates of an archdiocesan elementary school will have mastered. In order to measure the alignment of grade level expectations to the content area expectations, have a copy of the content area expectations right next to the Missouri Learning Standards as you review them. Every time you read a Missouri Learning Standard, put a tally mark in the space provided next to all the Archdiocese of St. Louis content area expectations that it aligns to. For example, the 8th grade Communication Arts Missouri Learning Standard acknowledge new information expressed by others, including those presented in diverse media, and when warranted, qualify or justify their own views in light of evidence presented, aligns to the following Archdiocese of St. Louis Communication Arts expectations. Apply verbal and nonverbal skills as appropriate to task, purpose, and audience to enhance the delivery of a presentation. Present and explain content in a focused, coherent manner as appropriate to task, purpose, and audience, and listen critically to understand the thoughts and beliefs of others. Document notes of anything within your grade level Missouri Learning Standards that you question in these sections of your curriculum writing document, and consult with your committee members, especially those working on grade levels above and below you. Once you have done an in-depth review of your grade level Missouri Learning Standards, move on to Step 2. Here you will do an in-depth review of the national standards. For this step, you will need the following document located at your table. A copy of the national standards for your content area located at your table. This is a quick step simply involving reading and familiarizing yourself with the national standards. When finished reading them, you will move on to Step 3. Step 3 involves a thorough compare-contrast analysis of the Missouri Learning Standards and national standards. For this step, you will need the following documents. A copy of the Missouri Learning Standards, a copy of the national standards, and your copy of the curriculum writing form. Most of the time, the Missouri Learning Standards and national standards align nicely. However, there are places where they do not, especially for content areas whose national standards have been updated since the latest version of the Missouri Learning Standards in 2016. To give an example, Missouri Science Learning Standards has a gap between third grade and high school when the strand Inheritance and Variation of Traits is taught. The latest Next Generation Science Standards includes this strand in middle school. Make note of any differences between the Missouri Learning Standards and national standards in question number 4 on your curriculum writing document. Consult with your committee members, especially those working on grade levels above and below you. After doing a thorough compare-contrast analysis of the Missouri Learning Standards and national standards, Step 4 requires that you establish your proposed Archdiocese of St. Louis grade level expectations for your content area. Your proposed grade level expectations, as well as organization of expectations into domains, subdomains or strands, and themes if they are available, should be very similar and may be identical to both the Missouri Learning Standards and national standards. Committee members must work together to ensure vertical alignment throughout the 11 grade levels and that everyone agrees on the expectations. To do this efficiently, focus on one domain at a time. As an example, in science, committee members may choose to focus on the physical science domain first, and then life science, then earth and space science, and finally the engineering, technology, and application of science domain. Another example would be in music. Committee members may choose to focus on the creating strand first, then perform and present, then respond, and then connect. The expectations are aligned if there are no gaps or overlaps in content and if the cognitive levels required of the students have a rigorous and logical progression. Once the expectations are agreed upon, assign an abbreviated name or code to the expectation. Doing so will be helpful for Step 5. For example, the first expectation of the proposed list for 4th grade science should be abbreviated as 4.S.1. Next, upload the expectations to the tab of your grade level in your content area's Google spreadsheet entitled Proposed Expectations, followed by your content area. For instance, a 4th grade teacher working in the science committee would submit her proposed 4th grade science expectations in the Google spreadsheet link emailed to her called Proposed Science Expectations in the 4th grade tab. All committee members should have received an email with a link to a Google spreadsheet where they will submit their proposed grade level expectations. Once all pre-K 3 through 8 grade level expectations are uploaded to the Google spreadsheet, your committee is ready to move on to Step 5, establishing proposed priority expectations for your content area. As a reminder, priority expectations are a subset of learning standards that educators determine to be the highest priority or most important for students to learn. For this step, you will need the following: your list of proposed grade level expectations. To give an example, this is a 4th grade teacher's proposed science expectations in the Google spreadsheet, and a copy of the document entitled Determining Priority Expectations in an Objective Way, modeled after the work of Larry Ainsworth. Look at the document called Determining Priority Expectations in an Objective Way. Begin by entering all of your proposed grade level expectations into the first column called Expectation, entering one expectation in each cell. To do this quickly, you may want to simply write the abbreviations or codes you created for your proposed expectations. Once all of your grade level expectations are entered into the first column, begin by measuring the endurance, leverage, and readiness of each expectation by answering the questions: will the expectation provide students with knowledge and skills beyond a single test date? Will the expectation provide knowledge and skills that are of value in multiple disciplines? And will the expectation provide students with essential knowledge and skills that are necessary for their success in the next grade level? For each answer marked yes, the expectation receives 1 point. Mark the total number of points ranging from 0 to 3 in the total column. Do this for each expectation. In the end, your list of 10 to 12 priority expectations for your grade level should be those with the highest points. Once you establish your proposed 10 to 12 priority expectations, write them in big text on a sheet of large chart paper with your grade level written at the top. When each grade level, pre-K 3 through 8, has established their list of priority expectations, committee members should put the sheets of chart paper in order by grade level and review them. As you are reviewing them, first look at how well they align to the Archdiocese of St. Louis content area expectations. As a reminder, the purpose of these is to communicate the broad outcomes of a specific content area that graduates of an archdiocesan elementary school will have mastered. Each content area expectation does not need to be represented or taught in every grade level, but it should be the goal of every school that their 8th grade graduates be competent in these areas. Next, review the pre-K 3 through 8 priority expectations for vertical alignment within and among the 11 grade levels. Be sure that there are no gaps or overlaps in content taught and that the cognitive levels required of the students have a rigorous and logical progression. Once your proposed priority expectations are agreed upon, upload them to the same Google spreadsheet where you uploaded your proposed grade level expectations. Put them in the column called Priority Expectations, and be sure you are in the correct tab for your grade level. There is no need to assign abbreviations to proposed priority expectations. Congratulations, you have completed Stage 1 of our process.